back to the channel, everybody. This is Kodeations, and in today's video, we're gonna be diving back into some Cookie Run Kingdom and officially bringing you guys a updated PVE tier list for the start of April 2022. Diving right in, ladies and gentlemen. So starting off the video here, we've got SS all the way down to D rank, as you can see here on screen. We're gonna be basically ranking every single cookie, and that includes the brand new Caramel Arrow. All right, so starting us off here on SS rank, we've got, and that's gonna be none other than Hollyberry, Pure Vanilla Cookie. We've got Sea Fairy. Obviously, literally these three are like the best cookies in the game for PvE content. We've got Hollyberry for the tank, Pure Vanilla Cookie for his shields, but also for that healing that he instantly provides, and then also Sea Fairy with the overall, AoE insane damage, the stun, just overall a very, very nice, AoE damage dealer to add to pretty much any team composition. Next up, we've got, that's gonna be Cotton Cookie. We've got Eclair Cookie. We've got Licorice Cookie, and we've also got Pumpkin Pie. Now, we've got basically two summoner cookies here, two support units, or three summoners here. I apologize. We got three summoners and two support units. So essentially, we've got, three summoners here, and we've got two support units. Both of these support units, you guys already know they're absolutely broken. They deserve to be here on the SS rank, hands down, pretty much on any content outside of the arena, and even including the arena. Cotton and Eclair definitely deserve to be on your team at some point in time. They do massive amounts of damage, and then also with Cotton also providing a ton of other utilities. So again, very nice. Licorice here still holding his own when it comes to the overall damage that he can provide, and also damage mitigation, survivability with that defense buff and everything that he does provide for PvE stuff. Still very good. We've got Pumpkin Pie Cookie here as well. You guys already know Pumpkin Pie, once again, Pon that is summoned, absolutely shreds and is very, very broken when it comes to just, tanking a ton of damage and then allowing your teammates to, remain alive. So Pumpkin Pie is going to come in here for sure. Next up, we've got, and that's going to be DC, guys. Dark Choco, that defense break for PvE, especially for guild bosses, is absolutely unmatched, man. You just cannot beat it. Next up, we've got, and that's going to be Dark Cacao. Now, we did rate him on our last tier list because he was freshly new then. Dark Cacao, once again, a brand new ancient in the game, still holds the spot strong here at SS. The debuffs that's being provided, the tankiness, and then also that slight defense break as well. Not as good as, quite as good as Dark Choco for the defense break, but still a very good option. It also has that, reduced healing shield. So again, very, very cool. Next time, what we got, this is going to be a big change for a lot of people for this season, and that's going to be Pomegranate for me moves up to SS rank. And now, not only for myself, I agree with this, but also a lot of other higher level players, in the top tier guilds in the game. Some of those in Wistaker, some of those in Camazon. Basically, Pomegranate with the additional buffs that was being provided by, the last update, Pomegranate absolutely deserves to be here on SS tier. Not only is the healing really, really good up there on top, really, really close to Pure Vanilla Cookie, but also you're getting that 30% attack buff, which is huge for any player diving into the game, especially for anybody that does not have the attack scroll. Absolutely, dude, a very good cookie that you can add to your team to just, increase your overall damage output. But nevertheless, don't sleep on a Pomegranate Cookie. Next up, we've got, that's going to conclude our SS rank. We're going to be taking a look at our C tier. We've got, very first one, that's going to be Frost Queen. Very good AoE damage dealer, adds a freeze ability. However, though, not very, the best cookie to use for boss fights. But outside of that, though, definitely going to be one you should be looking to build. We got Strawberry Crepe here, very close to Hollyberry when it comes to utility for being a frontline tank. Very, very good when it adds to the overall damage mitigation, increases your DMR. Very good for episodes like 13 and 14. Definitely deserves to be on here. Next up, we've got, that's going to be Vampire Sorbet Black Raisin. Now, all three of these are ambush cookies. All three of them do a ton of damage. Vampire comes in here more towards single target damage, which obviously makes sense here, but basically, Vampire is going to be really good for boss fights. Sorbet is also going to be very good for boss fights. Black Raisin, she isn't really the best for boss fights overall, but if you just need some pure damage being done, she's very, very good. Next up, we've got, that's going to be Parfait. Again, the healing that's being provided and also the debuff resistance, that's also provided. Again, a very, very good cookie here to utilize. We've got Tiger Lily, and then we've got Rye Cookie to complete our S tier units for PvE. Now, obviously, Lily here is going to be specifically for that stun that she uses. And also for early game progression, if you happen to get a Lily, she's not bad for overall damage, but realistically, a lot of the stages you could definitely benefit from having that additional stun that she does provide. So naturally, she's going to be placed there. And then Rye Cookie here is very similar to Vampire, where Rye, she's also going to be a single target damage dealer. And again, overall, very, very good for single target or boss stages, or just to nuke somebody in the back line. Next up we've got, that's going to start our A list and probably our largest list, I guess I would say here for our tier list. We've got a bunch of different cookies here, so I'm just going to kind of place them out and talk about them as we go on. But nevertheless, we've got, that's going to be Coco Cookie right off the bat, frontline tank, a little bit of healing provided, and also, provides that immunity to stuns. Very good, very situational, though, when it comes to PvE stages. We've got Mango, we've got Squid, both AoE damage dealers. Very, very nice choices. Mango adds a little bit of an attack. Squid doesn't really bring anything else to the table besides AoE damage, but also does have an evade, which is very, very nice if you utilize it, specifically at a specific time. We got Raspberry here. We've got Latte for the overall silence. We've got Sonic and Tails. Now, I know not a lot of people actually have Sonic and Tails currently at the moment, unless you've been playing since, pretty much day one. Nevertheless, but Sonic and Tails are still a very, very good option in something like the Chaos Tower, where you can only utilize up to like 4 or even 3 epic cookies. These guys don't count as epics. They're actually counted as a specialty tier, which is a very, very awesome thing because you can utilize them in those stages as a cookie in place, and these are slightly better still than your rare cookies. So nevertheless, if you got them, absolutely still use them for something like the Chaos Tower. Next up we've got, that's going to be none other than Twizzly Gummy. We've got Twizzly Gummy, we've got Cream Puff Cookie. If you guys don't know, she got a buff a couple updates ago, but again, very, very nice, the healing that's being provided. But if you run a crit % build, she can actually do some really good damage. So not going to be a terrible cookie to add to your overall team. If you happen to get lucky and pull her in the guild gacha as an early game progression, she absolutely can carry you, which is very, very good. Next up we've got, that's going to be Snow Sugar. Once again, we got a buff on them, which definitely made them, more viable. Next up we've got, that's going to be Almond Cookie. Now, Almond Cookie, again, not going to be as good for me, for S tier or and above or anything like that, because, not a lot of people are utilizing him in the overall PvE side of things. There's just a lot better AoE damage dealers out there and other, team combos that you can build that offer way more variety to your overall kit than somebody like Almond. But nevertheless, still going to be coming in here at A tier. Next up we've got, and that's going to be a recently new cookie, and that's going to be Alphagato. Now, Alphagato here is going to be a, another one of those situational cookies. You can absolutely utilize Alphagato on episode 14 for a specific stage, something like, 1410. Or going up, I think you can actually use Alphagato versus Alphagato, but either way, nevertheless, I definitely think that she's not going to be much better than A tier when it comes to PvE content. There's still a lot better options, in my opinion, for overall damage outside of that situational stuff. Now, we do have a couple of changes. The next 2 changes we've gotten, that's going to be Poison Mushroom is officially moving up here. I believe we had them down at C tier, I believe. We're moving them all the way up here to A tier because the buff that was just provided by Shroomy, if you didn't check out that video, go check it out. I'll post it up here on top for you. But nevertheless, still a very, very good, AoE cookie to utilize. Also very, very good when it comes to like boss stages as well, to just stack up a whole bunch of like poison ticks to just, slowly diminish the health over time. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Herb. Herb, once again, is officially back. If you do happen to be, getting, into stages where you got a bunch of debuffs, Herb can actually do similar things like the Monocle, where it actually provides a cleanse. And the healing is going to be, decent. It's not going to be as good, in my opinion, as somebody like Parfait or Pure Vanilla Cookie, but outside of that, though, still a very good option. Next up, we've got, and that's going to be the brand new one we've got, and that's going to be Caramel Arrow, guys. Caramel Arrow, for me, is going to be coming in at A tier for PvE content. Now, I know that a lot of you guys might be triggered by me putting Caramel Arrow in A tier, but remember, this is PvE content, and when it comes to PvE outside of boss strategies, a lot of it boils down to AoE damage. You want a ton of AoE damage being done, and you want your cookies to survive and live. Caramel Arrow being in the front line takes a very, very, support tank role, and unfortunately she doesn't hold that role very well. She actually jumps to the back of the line, which then opens up your team, for vulnerabilities. Even though she does put out some decent damage, at the end of the day, it's just not gonna be enough compared to other AoE damage dealers. So we went ahead and just placed her here on A, all right? So that is what it is. Then moving right along here, we've got to B tier, and that's gonna be Moon Rabbit. We've got Maddie, we've got Milk Cookie, we've got Espresso, we've got Mint, we've got Kumiho, we got Sparkling, we've got pastry, we've got mala sauce, and then last but not least, and that's going to be tea night cookie. Now, all of these cookies here, in my opinion, deserve to be down in B tier. They're not going to be quite making the mark for PvE in my retrospect, to the A tier. The only one here, guys, that I would actually argue a little bit when it comes to PvE content that you could potentially say is A tier, and that's going to be Espresso. Now, the reason why I say this is because a lot of players, for whatever reason, have gotten Espresso early game, and if you get Espresso early game, that's one of your main, AoE damage dealers, and if you build them correctly with the right substats, the right toppings, you could absolutely carry you through early game progression. Outside of that, though, guys, I'm going to leave him in B tier because it just does not make the mark up against something, like a sorbet, like a mango, like a squid ink. It just doesn't hit as hard, and because of that, we're going to put him down here in B tier. Outside of that, though, guys, everybody else here is very situational. Use them if you only have the option to use these guys. Otherwise, there are other better units that you can use and replace them for, in my opinion, and also some, higher level people's opinion as well. C tier here, we've got 3 different cookies. We've got Werewolf Cookie, Red Velvet Cookie. We've also got Fig Cookie. Once again, all 3 of these, just in my opinion, I would not even recommend building them at this point in the game. I really, really hope that they get some sort of buff over to Red Velvet. I know that we've already seen a buff for a Werewolf and Fig in the past, which doesn't mean that we can't get a new one, but I really would like to see something additional come to that. And then last but not least here, we've got, and that's going to be D tier. That's going to be, Chili Pepper Cookie here, Lilac, and then obviously Yam Bam. Now, you guys already know, man, that I really, really loved Yam at the very beginning of the game. That was one of my very first epics that I pulled, utilized them for a long time, way up into the 30 levels on my account, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't making the mark. I really want to see an update as well, on overall Yam's abilities, but until then, guys, it's going to remain in D tier. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up today's video. As always, you guys let me know what your thoughts are down below. Keep in mind, the tier list videos are purely subjective, and you might not agree with everything, and if that is the case, that's all right. Just build what cookies that you have, or not only that, I would invite you guys to join the Discord. The link's provided down below. We've got a ton of players over there that are always willing to help out anybody and everybody and answer questions that you might have. That includes if you should invest in a specific cookie. With that being said, though, guys, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything Cookie Run Kingdom related. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one.